Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS current affair analysis for 22nd February 2021. In this video, we'll be looking at these issues. In September 2020, Rajya Sabha chairman or deputy chairman Harivansh Narayan Singh allowed for what is called a voice vote to decide the fate of two contentious farm bills. Now, why is this a problematic issue? If you take a look at Article 100 of our Constitution, it says that every question of any bill or any discussion shall be decided by a majority of the members sitting and voting. Now, how do you decide this majority? It requires voting, right? So, it can be decided by voting, and in this context, a procedure called voice vote is constitutionally not valid. Voice vote is different from normal voting because whenever there are this type of practice is followed, the presumption here is that government has a majority in the house, so whatever the government brings is likely to be passed. Therefore, the voice vote is adopted when there is an absolute clear majority for a party in any house. But if you take the case of Rajya Sabha in September, the ruling party did not have a clear majority. So, adopting voice vote or expressing their consent for the bill through voice rather than actual counting is considered to be unconstitutional. A similar procedure was again adopted in Karnataka, wherein there was a lack of clear majority for the ruling party in the Legislative Council. Despite this fact, voice vote was adopted for a very contentious cattle slaughter bill. So, in this context, the argument presented by this editorial is the fact that we cannot subjugate rule of law to the whims and fancies of the ruling government. Procedural norms should be followed to safeguard the spirit of democracy. Another technique adopted by parties when they don't have a clear majority in any house is to take the route of money bill. Money bills don't require the assent of Rajya Sabha or the upper house or the other house in the case of states, that is the Legislative Council. So they often take this route of money bill and pass even controversial provisions like that of Aadhaar through a money bill. So this is yet another technique apart from the voice vote technique adopted by the political parties to sideline the opposition and get the bills passed. Whenever we talk about justice, we have to consider it from two different perspectives. One is the means adopted to arrive at the ends, and the ends in themselves. Basically, when we are talking about participatory democracy, democracy is a value that we have to respect because time and again it has been proven as the least conflicting method to govern people. Now, this democracy should become as participative as possible. Now, how do you ensure this participation? It is generally considered that Lok Sabha is the elected body of legislature, and Rajya Sabha is merely a house where it is often criticized that retired politicians get their due political benefit by getting nominated in Rajya Sabha. But is this the only way we have to look at it? Not exactly. The spirit of the constitution is completely different on this perspective. If you take a look at the statistics, the party that has been consistently winning any election over the 70 years of our democracy, very rarely did that party get more than 45% of the votes. That is to say, 55% of the country did not want the party in power to be in the seat of power. If you take the present government into consideration, the numbers would have been somewhere around 38 to 40% at max, or 35 to 40%. So, the point that I'm trying to make here is how can we call a government to be representative of the entire country when more than 60% of the population did not want that government to be in power? It is in this context you have to understand the spirit of bicameralism or the importance of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is basically considered to be a representative of state's opinion. If the center carries out any bill or legislation which can affect the states, Rajya Sabha has always traditionally been the roadblock to avoid such problems and carry out proper debates. Adopting routes like voice vote and finance bill will undermine this capacity, because we all know that money bill will not be put for voting in Rajya Sabha. Similarly, voice vote, as we have seen in the case of Rajya Sabha's farm bill debate, can also be used to sideline the opposition's voice. In this context, we have to understand that in order to achieve the actual means of a participatory democracy, the procedures should be respected. It is in this procedures itself the value of democracy lies. That is what this article is trying to say. Now, how to take this problem more seriously is the question at hand. The only way to go forward is deliberate, discuss, and debate. So, for this, parliamentary procedures should be strengthened. Parliamentary committees should be empowered to carry out discussions. They should be supplemented with proper manpower required for research. MPs should be given enough manpower to carry out legislative research work. So, all this deliberation, discussion, and debates will improve the quality of governance in our country. If we undermine those procedures itself, the value of democracy will slowly corrode away. That is what this article is trying to say. Just berating Babus is a waste of time. This article can be read in the context of our syllabus, that is GS2's role of civil services in democracy. So, bureaucracy versus privatization has been a debate that has been in news for quite a while now. In the parliament, recently our prime minister has said that we have overvalued the capacities of IAS and we do not respect the potential of our youth. Why is that our government time and again bestowing the responsibility of even running everything on IAS officers alone? This is a question asked by our Prime Minister Modi in the parliament. It is in this context the article is written. The problem we have at hand is times are changing. We are slowly moving towards Industrial Revolution 4.0. Now, this Industrial Revolution 4.0 will eventually impact the entire economy. So, there is a growing trend of digitalization. So, digital skills require new set of skills for surviving in this economy. Now, if we don't get this education on time, we will develop under capacities. Now, in our country, the government is expected to take an initiative to carry out any sort of a reform, and whenever the government looks up for carrying out any reforms, the bureaucracy is the one that is at the helm of affairs. It is not just the present trend of digitalization or new economy, as the new India vision is taken into consideration. Our government focuses on Atmanirbharta. The Atmanirbharta concept is nothing but self-reliance, where capacity building is the most important pillar. In the absence of this capacity building, we expect our bureaucracy to get the job done in a very efficient manner. But we have to understand that there are two problems here. The existing bureaucracy or the IAS officers, they don't have the necessary skill set to adapt immediately. So there is a need to reskill them. Now, what is the structure that this present government has to reskill them? The second problem is they are severely understaffed. Time and again, a lot of reports have underlined the fact that our present bureaucracy is largely understaffed, and especially in the context of services like Indian Foreign Service, we have a huge deficit. Apart from this problem, there is another set of problem wherein the bureaucracy is doing one thing, the government is saying one thing, and this conflict between what the executive says in public discourse and what it actually directs the bureaucracy to do has been a point of conflict. For example, this article quotes the example of recent Keynes arbitration case that we have discussed yesterday as well. So in this case, what happened was the government believes that Keynes should be giving certain amount of tax for the Indian government. It should be paying up some tax. And since Indian government has lost this case and the arbitration award at PCA or Permanent Court of Arbitration has been in the favor of Keynes, Indian government has opened up avenues to seek further legal options. And we have to remember that this job is done by bureaucracy. At the same time, we have to remember the statements of our late finance minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, who remarked that arbitration awards should not be dragging down the businesses in our case, and we have to ease out all these tensions. But what a person's or a government representative believes and what the bureaucracy is being directed to do is sometimes in conflict because of the legacy issues. Now, it is all up to the political will to change this. Whether the government wants to go for privatization and seek more number of private players in solving this problem, or whether it wants to increase the capacity of our bureaucracy, or whether we want to go for lateral entry, the policy should be clear on this. So the author opines that undermining the bureaucracy will not solve this problem. So if there is a need for lateral entry, there should be a proper discussion and debate on that in the parliament, and any fear that meritocracy will be replaced by people who are considered to be sycophants of the government should be sidelined, and there should be a clear policy on how this lateral entry will happen. If they want to go for lateral entry, they have to clearly lay down a policy. Or if they want to privatize, one of the major fear is that private companies do not want to participate in public services. How will we ensure that? So, for questions like this, the government must come up with formidable answers where it has to bring all the people on board and convince them. It cannot take unilateral decisions or just undermine the efficacy of this bureaucracy. Nobody argues with the fact that we need to restructure our bureaucracy. But how is the question? It can take any form that the government believes in. But it is the responsibility of the government to convince everyone on board and convince every stakeholder that this is the best way forward by bringing out the logical points. That is what this article is trying to say.